If you could mute your microphone, just another reminder for people to mute their microphone. Thank you. And hopefully you should be able to see share screen. John, does that come through? Terrific. Yeah, Charlie, I've got my assistants out there as co-hosts helping me out here. Okay, so it is just a couple minutes after 7 here. 1 second. And we're going to get started shortly. We still have people joining, which is a great thing. Okay, I'm going to officially welcome everybody to our council-wide Long Beach Area Council update. We have a few speakers that will be joining us on today's call. Let me introduce myself first. My name is Mark Bonner. I'm the Assistant Scout Executive for the Long Beach Area Council. Joining us tonight will also be Bob Colley, who is the chairman of an upcoming event, Family Adventure Day. We also have Rob Tognoli with us tonight, who is chairing our Pinewood Derby Championships coming up the next few weeks. And we also have our Scout Executive on the call tonight, John Fullerton, who will be giving us some updates as well. I'm going to go over some housekeeping items here, along with our agenda. So we're going to go over some events, including Adventure Day coming up that I mentioned, the Pinewood Derby, Cabaret. We're going to preview Seabase. We're going to talk about the fire that is in the Camp Tockwitz area. Meetings outdoors, new video resources for you, including a PowerPoint that we just put out there, new Den Leader resources, QR codes, renewals, popcorn, and training. So there's a lot of material that we have for you. And then we'll get into some Q&A. Just as some reminders, please mute your speaker as we go along. Enter the questions in the chat. So we're going to be monitoring that as we go through the call. Any question you have, we're going to get to either real time or we'll catch up at the end. And then as a reminder, we are recording this call. So for those people who want to replay it, maybe you're jotting down some notes or you missed something, or for those people who couldn't attend, you can tune in on YouTube anytime after this call. Okay, so the first thing we're going to start off with are some events, and I'm going to queue up Bob Colley if he's on the call in just a minute after I go over some of these other events that we're going to cover. After Family Adventure Day, we have Pinewood Derby. So if Rob Tognoli is out there, Rob, take your cue after Bob. Our Cabaret is coming up, which is a very exciting annual event that we do for Cubs. Scouting for food, of course. And we're going to have some previews about some potential Seabase programs. So with that said, Bob, maybe you could unmute yourself, and I think we'll start with Family Adventure Day. Are you there, Bob?
I'm here, Mark. Everybody hear me?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Hello, everybody. Welcome. I'd like to talk to you about Family Adventure Day. It's on September 26th, a Saturday. There's a complete guide that's now online that will tell you everything you need to know. Coming over the weekend, there's going to be an overall map of all the locations, including links to videos that you can watch to see where you want to go. I want to make perfectly clear that this is open to all units, not just Cub Scouts. There are many opportunities for stops. Some of them are geared primarily towards Cub Scouts. For example, Blacksmith Corner in Bellflower. Some of these activities are more geared towards Scouts. For example, we're going to be hosting a merit badge session at Seaport Village. So not really up for Cub Scouts, but a great opportunity for Scouts. Most of them will lend themselves to all ages, both Cub Scouts and Scouts. There'll be a lot of geocaches along the way. So the way it works is you're going to pull up this map in the guidebook, and there are like 14 locations that you can go to. Pick 1, pick 4, pick 8, try and go to them all. Whichever you want to do, you can plan your location from your own house. The idea is it's not like a big Disneyland thing. You're not spending a lot of money. We're just trying to get your families out of the house, spending some time together, discovering some fun things in our council within our boundaries, and having some fun. We're going to have you take a selfie at each stop or a geocache. And at 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock, we're going to invite you to go to Bethany Lutheran Church, pull in the driveway. We're going to have opportunity drawing tickets for some Scout prizes. We're going to have you a s'more, and you're going to get your badge.
You climb into the pool like that, even though you might be out of the way.
Special opportunities, Roofs Light on Line, which is one of the original and only still existing activity left over from when we had the Pike in Long Beach. They are opening their doors to Scout families only from 10 o'clock in the morning to 11:30. The owner will be there, who is the granddaughter of the guy that helped build the Pike originally. Wealth of knowledge. She's going to give tours of all the memorabilia that's there. A lot of cool things. There's some hand-carved figurines from a 1890s funhouse. There's an original 1930s Cyclone racer car. You take a picture around that. And if you're a fan of neon signs, I guess the first neon sign that was ever invented is there on display as well. So it'll be a lot of fun. And she's going to let the kids play the game, which is kind of an amazing thing, kind of a fun thing. So I would ask you to really think hard about going to Loofs in the morning. And then Rancho Los Alamitos has been reserved from 10 to 2 for Scout families only. How you get to the Rancho and how you reserve your spot is in the guidebook. So look at it. It's pretty simple. But to go to the Rancho, you do have to make reservations in advance. And I was thinking that because of the new regulations that we could go to some of these things. Originally, it was designed for families, Family Adventure Day. I was thinking that maybe dens or patrols could go together. I guess with the carpooling regulations, that kind of squelched that. So if Scouts wanted to go with their own drivers and then meet up at some of these locations, like the Nature Center, for example, and go on a hike together as a patrol, as long as they followed all the safe distancing rules and that sort of thing, that would be allowed, but you can't carpool. But once you get to a destination, I see no reason why dens or patrols couldn't kind of meet up again, as long as you follow the rules, 10 or under, that sort of thing. Any questions on the Family Adventure Day? Let me see the chat room. No, that's it. So again, look up the guidebook. It's online. My email address and phone number are there. Last day to register would be probably Friday, the day before. We are getting some good registrations, but that brings up a really good point that I was asked to talk about tonight. This kind of goes out to everybody, and I want to make this as gentle as possible, because I know everybody's life is in kind of a disarray over the COVID and all this. Kids are going back to school. It's hard, but our council is kind of short-staffed at the moment. We have a lot of volunteers, including many of you, trying to help set up programs. And I just would like to ask your cooperation, if you can, as you can, by registering as early as you can for some of these events, so that volunteers that are putting these together, we have an idea of who's going to participate. We know how to arrange our programs, what kind of space we need, what kind of supplies. Okay, the merit badge that's being offered is at what's it called? Seaport Village, kind of downtown Long Beach. We have a mom from Troop 14 as a merit badge counselor for signal signs and codes. And she's going to be getting the boys set with that. But it's a 3-parter. She's going to be working on that merit badge, but she's also going to send the boys out on a hike to the Lions Lighthouse, which is kind of a nice hike. And then also a secondary hike to some of the existing pike locations that are still in existence. So they can see where the pike was laid out, some of the streets, a couple of the buildings are still there. So it's kind of a 3-parter down there. Parking's kind of difficult, but all the information is in the guidebook. So follow that and get down there and have some fun. So that's all I have.
Great, thank you, Bob. Rob, I'm going to ask if you're out there, if we could queue you up next. Are you there, Rob?
I'm here. Thank you, Mark.
Yeah. So go ahead and give us an update on the Derby coming up.
The Pinewood Derby Championships are set to be held October 10th on a Saturday. Prior to that, on October the 3rd, we're running races for PACs that were able to, build their cars, but not able to run their races prior to the lockdowns. So Saturday, October 3rd, we are running PAC races for the council. We're getting everything set up this Saturday at the Christian Life Church, 3400 Pacific Avenue at the corner of Wardlow and Pacific. We're really trying to get all cars dropped off at that time. Registration has been open this week on the council website. We were hoping to get everybody registered before this Saturday. That's not really turning out to be the point. 14 PACs were able to already hold their Pinewood Derbies prior to the lockdown or in time since. So those PACs will be dropping off their top 3 or 4 champion cars for the races this Saturday at the Christian Life Church. And, we're keeping everything safe. You're going to drive up. We will take your car in a bag. We're going to quickly weigh it and measure it, making sure it meets the basic specifications for the rules online. If there's any modifications that need to be done, you can either do it on site there. We'll have a table for quick repairs or adding or removing weights. Otherwise, if absolutely necessary, we will extend the registration and drop-off dates until next Saturday. And I know we don't want this to conflict at all with Family Adventure Day, but in the absolute event somebody's car needed to be dropped off that day, we're going to make allowances for that. So this Saturday, we're setting up the tracks, getting everything ready to run. The event will be all online. It will be streamed. We'll have a mixer with 3 cameras and the scoreboard. So everything will be set through the council's website, which is their streaming service. It's kind of what you're watching right now, Zoom plus a YouTube stream. I believe that's about it for my part. We're sending out the actual times for drop-off tonight. We'd like to stagger things so that PACs that are doing the races can get their cars in the morning. PACs that are just entering into the championships can be dropped off in the afternoon. And the thing is, we just don't want a lot of people at the event at the same time. You're going to be staying in your car the entire time. We will have, masked scouts that will be picking up basically your plastic bag. Extremely little contact. You're just handing the bag out to somebody. So we're doing everything we can to ensure that there is no potential chance of any infection or contamination. So I think that's about it for the Pinewood Derby.
Great. Thank you, Rob. Okay, so now just a brief update on Cabaret. There we go. So for Cabaret, this will be October 24th, 25th. And this is our annual Halloween themed event that we do every year, except this year, of course, like we did for the camp-in a couple weeks ago, this is going to be virtual. And there is something for every den, for lions, tigers, wolves, bears, webelos, arrow of lights. You can work on these advancement items that are listed on the screen, also on the website. I will mention that we've had some of these QR codes along these screens here. And so if you replay this presentation and you scan that code, it'll take you directly to the reservation site. You'll get a box, again, just like we did for the camp-in a few weeks back. That was a big hit, streamed all over. And you'll get your activities in the box. You'll get a shirt, a patch, and a fun ID badge. We're going with a spy mystery theme. And I've neglected to mention that Joe Lopez will be chairing this event. He just happens to be on a different call right now. So I'm pinch hitting for Joe. And then activity fees. What are the costs? It's $20 per scout through the end of the month. And then the first week of October will be $25. And then mid-October, the closer we get to the event, it goes up to $30. So more information, activity guides, flyers, and so forth are on the Cabaret website. Check that out on our website. You can scan the code or find it directly from our homepage. There's a question here that I'll answer in the chat about the Derby. Do we need to register first? Rob, if you're still there, maybe you can take that one. And can the scouts go alone, or does he need to go with his den?
Well, you're going to be dropping the car off, so probably with a parent, I would expect. Again, we want to keep minimal contact from our scouts that are picking up the cars as to those dropping off. Registration should be done online. It's on the council website under, Mark, where is that?
Activities.
Activities, Pinewood Derby, and there's a link right there to the registration page. I did not mention that $15 fee for the champions. That'll include trophies and patches. Pack races are not, no fee for that because you're providing your own, any awards. However, we are also offering the car show, which is if your scout just wants to have his car shown to the rest of the council, we're going to do video fillers in between pack races and the championship races. Basic certificates for best looking cars, most patriotic cars, the standard Pinewood Derby fees. We can also offer a patch for that, and that fee is $5. So even if you're not running in the race and your scout wants to drop off a car, $5 for registration for the car show. Does that answer the question?
That should do it. Thank you. Thank you, Rob.
You guys need to get some dinner.
I'm sorry? Okay. So next, I think I'm going to queue up John. John, if you could unmute, and we'll go over some previews for C-based programs.
Great. Thank you, Mark. As we were planning our program for, the fall and heading it into next year, some of our original projections were that, school was probably going to be going back in October, November. So obviously that is now not going to happen. So we are coming up with some ideas. We want to run some things by you and get an idea if this is of interest to anybody. So the first idea that we have is we do have the facility there. We do have staff of having a distance learning, day camp. Essentially having cohorts, kind of daycare where you can bring kids, small groups, keep them in 10, and have them do schoolwork on site. And then after schoolwork is done, then we can also do maybe a little bit of recreational things, especially as until at least the outdoors, at least until it starts getting dark at 4:30. But we do have the sea base as a resource. Projected right now, because we'd have to pay 2 people to be on site per 10. It would be about $250 a week is what our projection would be. And so that's something that we are considering doing, in starting that in October. I know that many of you, with the district's, latest projection of when they're going to come back, maybe put in, and maybe many of the unit parents in your unit as well are struggling to find out, okay, well, how can I get my kids involved? We also too, you should know that we just upgraded to fiber optic down at the sea base, so that just happened. So we do have fast internet, and so I think that we're ready to be able to handle you know, groups of kids being online all at the same time, doing Zoom with their teachers. What's the next? Can you do the next couple of points, Mark? So right now we are also doing kind of almost a Sea Scout recruitment for sailing for ages 14 and over. That's going to go through the end of October. And so that is happening right now. So if you have kids that you might be interested in participating, they're doing activities on both Saturdays and Sundays for the next 5 weeks. They started last week, but they're doing different things each weekend. And so it's going to be a fun time, and we want to try to build up our Sea Scouting program. And so if they're interested, they can contact Chris Macy and come on down to the sea base. The other thing that we are looking at doing over the summer that was pretty popular was our kayak and canoe rentals for families. We're looking at opening the kayaks up for small groups, meaning like a den or your patrol. Really, it's for a patrol, for a troop to come down and could do kayaking, because we can get the social distancing with the unit kayaking. And so we're looking at trying to open that up in November as long as the weather cooperates. But you can still be out on the water, but that would be out on the weekends, probably for half days. And so look for that coming out. And then, of course, in January, we're looking at running our winter tech camp. So that's kind of the preview of things that we're going to be doing at the sea base. We're also going to be looking at trying to, put together some other merit badges and some other types of activities that we can do from the sea base as well. And says, how about canoe rentals for scouts? Somebody was asking about. The only problem in the canoe rentals is that you got to have 2 people in each canoe in trying to get the social distancing. So we could do canoe rentals for people from the same household, and I guess it just depends. As things open up, we're going to open up with it. So we are monitoring, every week what the county and what the city is saying, and so we are trying to be right on top of it, and we're gonna open up as soon as we can. So that's what the sea base. I don't know, Mark, if you want to put the poll up.
I do, yeah. So on the topic of this distance learning, there was a question about hours. What we're really hoping to do is gauge your interest. So we really haven't determined every little detail, because we want to see, what your interest is. And these are ideas that we're floating by you, including the unit kayaking. We're not saying these are set in stone by any means, but we want to know how we can leverage our sea base and how we can be of best help to you. So along those lines, here's a poll. If you could just weigh in on these 2 questions for us. The first one, would you be interested in sending your child to the sea base to do their schoolwork for a week-long basis for about $250 a week? Yes or no on that. And number 2 is, would you be interested in taking your Packer troop to kayak at the sea base in groups of 10 or fewer in November? So you should see a poll on your screen, and if you could weigh in there, either yes or no.
And if we do the distance learning camp, it would be designed for working parents. So we understand that there would have to be some extended hours. As somebody was asking about that.
Okay, so I'm not sure that that the polling option is working here.
It's working. I can see it.
Okay.
I saw it. I voted.
Thank you. Okay, got it. Yep. So John, you're going to have to, count down and determine when to end the poll.
Okay. Yeah, we're fighting over the same account here, so Mark was able to do it. So I'm going to go ahead and end the poll. So if you have any last minute voting or anything like that, go ahead and get in on it. But I'm going to end it in 2, 3. Alrighty. Right. Thank you very much for that. So that'll give us some good feedback as we go back to design our programs. And if you have any other ideas, feel free to email me or email Chris Macy so that we can, we have this great resource and we want to be sure we can utilize it to its fullest extent down at the sea base. So be sure to let me know or let us know of things and ideas that you might have for us to provide programming and support to your families and to your units.
And John, before you move on, there was a question about Winter Tech Camp, and our intent there, if possible, would be to do Winter Tech Camp in person.
Correct, yeah.
We would do that in about January. So, things could change, of course, since then. But then the other question to Kelly, you were asking about adults kayaking, absolutely. And this would be part of our unit kayaking idea. But we would hope that that both adults and youth would be able to get out there. And Rob, thank you for answering that question. We're not planning an outlaw race for adults with the Derby, so we just kind of bounced back and forth between a couple of subjects. And yes, we would be doing the kayaking just weekends, weekends only. So with that, John, do you think we could transition over to a Talkwitz update?
Sure. So many of you who've been following it or who have been interested is that the El Dorado fire that started several days ago in Yucaipa has burned up pretty close to camp, up within a mile. Camp has now been evacuated we had to evacuate camp last Wednesday evening. And in fact, the evacuation order came for all of Barton Flats from going from Angeles Oaks all the way over to Onyx Summit, if you're familiar with that area. So things had been going, pretty, the fire lines, there was some, what they were calling slop over, and that's the fire area that you're seeing now is not actually the main fire area. That's a little bit off the map and to the south. And what you're seeing there is fires approaching camp. It's getting, within a mile of camp, and then also coming down to the west, down into Angeles Oaks, which is that little town right before you come to camp. So as you can imagine, information is a little spotty. We do have some insiders. We have a retired fire chief who has inside information that he has been sharing with us, as well as then our fill-in ranger, Gavin, has been getting phone calls from people on the fire line, letting him know what the progress is. So, up until this point, the fire has been moving pretty slowly and at low intensity. However, unfortunately, this afternoon, onshore winds had kicked up, which, then, as you can see, pushes the fire closer to camp. What they're hoping to do is to push the fire into, use Highway 38 as a barricade and push the fire into, you can see some diagonal lines on there, and that's a burn area from 5 years ago, the lake fire that happened, again, right off of the property and burned way towards Big Bear. And the fire is mostly cooperating, and we have been monitoring very closely things. So there's been a few spot fires around Jinx Lake Road that they've been having to hop on. Resources for this fire have been extremely hard to come by. Smoke today prohibited fixed wing from really doing much, providing much air support directly on the fire. and one of their 3 choppers got called off to fight another fire that just started, the snow fire in Riverside over near San Jacinto due to a car fire. So as you can imagine, our firefighters are working as hard as they can, and have I think done a fantastic job to protect the area, and so the next 24 hours I think are really going to be pretty critical. Know that you know, over the last 4 years we put about $700,000 into the property to improve, for forestry improvement, for fire breaks, to clear around some of the major buildings. And Edison has come in and done additional work. And in fact, just during, $200,000 of that work was just done during the pandemic here, all throughout the south side of camp, which is where all of our campsites are. So that work, in fact, the foresters that were still in camp working left our camp to go onto the front lines of fighting this fire. So those are the ones that are giving Gavin the inside information, and they're letting them know what they're doing. So they're going to do everything humanly possible to protect camp. But at some point, hopefully the winds will die down. But I think it's going to probably take, at least some of the reports that I've heard, about 3 to 4 weeks to fully contain this fire. So we're probably going to be dealing with this for a little bit. So it's not terrible news, but it's not good news. I was hoping to deliver a little more some good news, but right now it's still just all of us, at least for me, sitting on pins and needles, listening or hitting refresh on some of the report pages. But know that we're following it very closely, and I think that we've invested quite a bit of money into helping to protect the camp as best as we can. So speaking of camp and summer camp, looking ahead, we are about ready to launch our new system that we are coming into. So Camp Master is we're not going to be using that anymore. We're going to be using a program called Black Pug, and it has some very good features. One of those is that a unit can set up accounts for your youth, and parents can make credit card payments directly into the system. So if you're the person that's been elected because you missed a meeting to handle summer camp registration, you no longer have to hound people for checks and then go get a troop check and that sort of thing. But parents can actually make direct payments for their kid directly into the system, and it'll get credited to the unit account. So that's a great thing. We'll also be able to handle all of our year-round reservations, both for the sea base and for Camp Tockwitz. And then for other activities and things like that, you won't have to spend 20 minutes setting up an account just to register for Cub Leader training. You can just go in, sign up for it, and get it done quickly. So those are just 3 really quick, I think, benefits that this program will bring to us. A lot of councils across the nation use this. They are designed specifically to work with Scout councils, and they understand our operations very intimately. And we're hoping that that this will be a vast improvement over some of the products that we've been using in the past. I've talked to several of other councils that have been using this, and they're extremely happy with this program, and they've been very responsive. So look for that coming out by the end of next week, and we'll be rolling out things that will be signing up with this new system over the course of the fall.
Great, thank you, John, for those updates on Tockwitz. So we kind of touched on events and outings, and I wanted to remind everybody that not to overlook this one piece of good news, and that is something that we announced a couple weeks ago, that the Long Beach Health Department does allow scouts to meet outdoors. So we should be happy about that. And you know, we're not confined just to our computers, but we can meet in small groups of 10 or fewer. So this is just a reminder. Again, this is not new news based on the announcement we made a couple weeks ago. But again, just a reminder of how you can meet outdoors. And I've seen some great photos on Facebook of troops, patrols, dens, you name it, meeting outside, distanced with masks and using hand sanitizer and canopies and whatnot. But that is a good step. I would encourage you to do two things. Number one is to read the youth sports protocols, which is on our COVID-19 site on our website, a page rather on our website, because that will outline a lot more detail than just the few bullet points I put here. And then also for those troops, packs, and other units meeting or intending to use Lakewood Parks, the city of Lakewood, they do have a particular park permit that you do need to submit beforehand before you meet at the park. And we have posted that on our COVID page as well. So check those out and let us know if you have any questions. But overall, this is certainly good news for everybody looking to begin those den meetings, those patrol meetings, just getting outside of the Zoom atmosphere. I do have, let's see, another poll, and John, I might need your help on this. But maybe you can launch the second poll. Can you do that? So we have a new video that has come out. And I'm just curious if anybody has seen that on any of our social media channels, like Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. So John, when you're ready, could you launch that?
It's already up.
Great. I'll take a yes if you've seen it or watched it, but yeah, you know, hopefully you've watched it. So John, how are the results coming in?
We have most of the people have responded so far, and it's about 50-50.
Okay, great. Well, we can end that then. And what I want to do is, I'm not going to play the entirety, but for those people who haven't seen it, I would encourage you to go to our Facebook page, go to our YouTube page, and really check out this video, because you can use it for your parent meetings. It's a really neat tool. It's very Long Beach with the visuals. And what we did was we interviewed 8 Long Beach families in the Long Beach area, some Lakewood, some Bellflower, on their scouting experience, and we think it came out pretty good.
When you join scouting, you join a lifestyle. Having that as a foundation, I think makes a great family. It is a family thing. Scouting has to be a family.
The scouting experience gives them a place to be, a place to fit in, a place to grow outside of the troubles of the streets.
Get to learn more about the wild. And
so that's just a little tiny preview. Again, we have about 36 different edits, believe it or not, that we'll be putting out there. But we have various formats that you can see here for various social media platforms. So we have square versions for news feeds. We have the vertical option for Instagram. We have the widescreen for YouTube. So if you're interested in sharing some of these videos or using it at a meeting, these are for everybody's use. And that's part of the reason why we endeavored to do such a big project. And it was it was quite a task to pull off, and it came off really, really well. So I want to thank Michael. I'm not sure he's on this call, but Michael really helped put this together, and there's several versions for you to check out.
We use the sea base here to prepare for a lot of the high adventure outings that we've gone on. We developed the canoeing skills that we needed to be successful on these high adventure outings right here in Long Beach at our own sea base.
So that's just another edit that highlights the sea base in particular. And then you can see on the left there, there's another edit that talks about the diversity in scouting as well. We do have a welcome PowerPoint, and I think I saw Jen on the call, so a little shout out to Jen from Pack 75 for putting this PowerPoint together. But this is on our Cub Scout resources page, again, on our website. And this is customizable. This is really, really cool that any Cub Scout pack out there can download it directly from our site and insert all of your contact information, everything that's particular to your pack. Jen has set up the entire outline for you. And I've already heard back from 2 other packs that have used this, and they absolutely find it very helpful. Also, a little shout out to another one of our Cub Scout leaders, Jennifer from Pack 78. So 2 Jens here have been helping us out, and she created a quick reference for den leaders. She did, I believe, get it from another council, but totally customized it for Long Beach and things that you need to know as a new den leader that you can give to parents and new families coming into your pack. Also, like I mentioned before, we have various QR codes for our events. If you could use some for your pack, we have one for beascout.org. Maybe you might want to put it on your flyer. I'm more than happy to do that. So let us know. You can email John, you can email Sandy or me, anybody at the Scout office, and we'd be happy to help you do that. Let's see. Okay, quick note on popcorn, and I was going to go into flyers in a minute, but we're getting to the end here of some miscellaneous updates. So I did want to let everybody know that we did receive our popcorn, and here's the items. This is what we have in stock. Any Scout can sell, even if the unit is not selling popcorn as a coordinated effort. Any Scout who wants to earn money for awards, for next year's summer camp, for a new uniform, a new Cub Scout book, you name it. This is a great way for Scouts to earn some money, namely to neighbors and online. So we know that the traditional method is in front of stores, but if that's not an option for us at this moment, you can certainly take a little wagon to neighbors, maybe take some product from our office and have something in hand to show people. But this is a really neat way that you can raise some money, and we have the product right now. So that's the takeaway. You can view inventory on our popcorn website, longbeachbsa.org/popcorn, and you'll be able to see exactly how many bags of each product we have. The one other note that I'll mention real briefly is that we do have a $5 item that's not on your screen. So you can see the price points, but if you just want to do a really quick, easy $5 sell, we have plenty of those as well to offer you. So let us know, come on by, and you can pick it up from the office. Another brief note on renewals that somebody had mentioned on our last call, and I just wanted to review the very, very basics and tell you when we're going to have more information for you in October. So there's 3 basic categories of renewals. You're going to have your current Scouts, you're going to have new Scouts that are joining after August 1st, which would have been about, for the last 6 weeks, and then you're going to have current adults. So for current Scouts, the renewal for next year, 2021, will be $100. For new Scouts, there's a $25 one-time new fee that our national office has implemented. So that would be $125 as opposed to $100. And then for adults, it would be $75. Our timeline will be releasing the renewal information to unit leaders and committee chairs on Monday, October 5th. So that's coming up in about 2 weeks. And then on the 8th, this is the one date that you'll want to tune in next. And our, as I call her, incomparable guru, Sandy Van Wyk, is our store manager, our registrar extraordinaire. She will be leading that, much like we're doing here tonight, and going through the renewal information, everything you need to know. Then the third date to keep in mind is November 30th, because that's when all of the renewals are due. And again, this is an online renewal that we've done for a couple of years now, and it is much better than the paper form. So if you haven't navigated the online form, Sandy can help you with that. But it is a lot easier and simplified to do. Okay, so what can we do about recruitment? Some brief notes here. I just wanted to ask if there's any volunteers to post yard signs. We've had people come by and pick up yard signs from our office. They're free to you. We have hundreds, and I tell you, I've been driving around. If you go by Clark, I mentioned to Pack 75, right at Mark Twain, you see yard signs out front, and it's terrific. Furthermore, not only did they put yard signs out front, but we did get a parent interested, filled out the online form with 2 boys who go to Mark Twain Elementary, and that was because the Pack put yard signs out front of the school. I have a yard sign out front of my house. Not sure if anybody's driven by and noticed it, but if you could and you're willing, drop us a note in the chat, drop us an email, call our office. We'll put these yard signs out front of our shop, and we found them to be very useful. We do have social media assets that I'll show you in a couple screens. We can print flyers. Shout out to Pack 208 out there that asked to print some flyers, and we were able to customize it with a QR code for them with their contact info, and those are flyers that they wanted to distribute. We can print everything in-house at our office, so you let us know, and don't be shy on the quantity. So we're more than happy to do that. Also, paid ads. We're doing some paid ads on social media, Facebook, Instagram. You'll see those in a minute. And just a reminder that both Facebook private groups that you're in, these are groups that you're members in on your pages and posting on Nextdoor, have paid off for other packs and troops that are looking to boost their numbers and get some new members involved. So again, another suggestion there. Here's just a little picture of one of the paid ads that we've been putting out there. So if you're scrolling through your news feed on some of your social media channels and happen to come across this, that's a good thing. Because we hope to catch more families that are not involved in scouting yet. And finally, here's some social media assets that we can help you out with if you're looking for photos, for text to use on your social media pages. We're more than happy to help you out with that. So as we approach 45 minutes here. Let's do a little quick recap on upcoming events that we did. We talked about a fire update, some new resources for you. We went over a video, some yard signs, popcorn renewals. And at this point, let's answer any questions that you might have. So we'll drop them in the chat here, and just let us know what feedback you have and what questions you have.
Mark, there was a question about paying for rechartering online.
Yes,
but
so
I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure about that.
And Kelly, good question on that. So your payment options, yes, you can pay online. Here's the catch: if you pay online, the money goes to the national office, charges a 3% fee. So our recommendation is that you still bring in a check, because then you're not charged that extra 3%. You can still do it. It offers you the option. Our recommendation here locally is to still pay by check for your renewal. Then there's a question here. We're getting some volunteers asking for yard signs, so that's great. Thank you for that. And then Brian says we do have a way to distribute flyers to schools through an online submission process, which is great. If you can do that, then certainly get your flyers out through your particular school. Let's see, Kelly's asking here, how do we do the popcorn sales on Facebook? You know what, we can show you that separately, Kelly. It might be a different different presentation, so to speak, but I'll say this, for anybody interested in popcorn sales, just send me an email. Drop a note in the chat. I'll get that and reach out to you separately. John, any other questions that you're seeing come through? Nope. Okay, let's see here. For the, well, there's a question coming through on Winter Tech Camp. John, what are the ages for that? Can you remind me? I think, are you muted?
We're looking at that right now. It traditionally has been Scouts BSA ages. So that would be 11 and up. But I'll talk with Chris if there's interest for Cub Scout age. We could open up to that age group as well.
Okay, well, you know, we don't want to hold you any longer than we need to. So let's see, I have 10 minutes to 8, and John, I think I'm gonna ask you to close it out if you don't mind.
Yes, well, thank you all for sticking with us. Be sure to say a prayer tonight for not only for Camp Talkwitz, but for, you know, certainly the firefighters on the front line, and, you know, those that are impacted by these fires. There have been, you know, a couple of you know, like 3 Boy Scout camps that I know of in other parts of the state that have burned up. And as well, even on this El Dorado fire, we've had several of our camp staff members that have been evacuated because they live either in Angeles Oaks or Forest Falls or some of the affected communities up in the mountains. So you know, just please keep them in your thoughts and prayers. And I want to thank all of you for all of your support of the Long Beach Area Council. We couldn't do the things that any of this without you, and we're really appreciative of all the support that you've shown through this time. And I'm really looking forward to getting together in person, and so I know that we will, and hopefully in the not too distant future. But again, thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.